The evening had started beautifully, one of those rare nights when loneliness seemed to loosen its grip on my chest. I sat at the long wooden dining table in my son Adil's house. The aroma of fresh biryani drifted through the air, mingling with the warm scent of naan straight from the oven. My daughter-in-law, Hania, bustled around, scolding Adil for laughing too loudly as he piled more food onto my plate. "Abu, you hardly eat these days. You need strength," Adil said, his tone a mix of firmness and affection. I smiled faintly, though my heart tightened at his words. He was right. Ever since his mother passed away, meals at my own house had become silent, tasteless affairs. Clatter of plates without her laughter was unbearable. Tonight, though, surrounded by family, I almost felt whole again. We spoke about simple things, work, neighbors, even a cricket match Adil insisted on showing me later. For a brief hour, I forgot about the emptiness waiting for me back at home, and then my phone rang. I frowned, seeing the name flash across the screen. Mrs. Khan, my neighbor for nearly 20 years, a woman who knew the comings and goings of every household in our street. Normally, I would have let the call go to voicemail, but something, an instinct I couldn't name, made me answer. Her voice was sharp, urgent, not the usual chatty tone. "Who's in your house?" For a moment, I thought I misheard. "What?" I said. "Who's in your house? The lights are on. I can see shadows moving in your bedroom window. Someone went in through the back door 10 minutes ago. A man. I'm looking at it right now." My blood ran cold. The fork slipped from my fingers, clattering onto the plate. The laughter around the table froze. "What is it, Abu?" Adil asked, alarm creeping into his voice. I swallowed hard, forcing the words out. "Mrs. Khan says someone's inside my house." The room fell silent. Even Hania stopped moving, her eyes wide. I stood abruptly, reaching for my coat, my heart hammered in my chest. My house was locked when I left. "How could anyone be inside? I'll come with you," Adil said, rising quickly. I shook my head. "No, stay here. If there is danger, I don't want you or Hania involved. But Abu, no." I cut him off, sharper than intended. My voice trembled, not from anger but from fear. "This is my house, my problem." He hesitated, his jaw tight, but finally sank back into his chair. The night air was colder than usual as I stepped outside, my mind racing. The road stretched dark and empty before me, but in my chest a storm raged. Who could it be? A thief? A stranger? Or someone I knew? "Mrs. Khan's words echoed in my ears, chilling me to the bone. "Who's in your house?" The drive back to my house felt endless. The roads I had traveled 1,000 times before suddenly looked unfamiliar, swallowed by shadows. Every passing second made my chest tighter, my hands gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles whitened. When I finally turned the corner, my heart nearly stopped. From the street, the house looked unchanged, silent, still. The gate was closed, the garden dark. To any outsider, it appeared untouched. But then I saw it, a faint glow spilling through the curtains of my bedroom window. Mrs. Khan hadn't been wrong. Someone was inside. I parked quietly and approached on foot, each step heavy with dread. My key slid too easily into the lock, and the door creaked open without resistance. The lock wasn't broken. It wasn't forced. Whoever had come in had a key. The air inside felt different, disturbed, as though strangers had exhaled where they didn't belong. A faint floral perfume clung to the air, sharp and out of place among the scent of old furniture and wood polish. I froze in the living room. Small things screamed at me, a cushion on the wrong side of the sofa, a framed photograph of my late wife slightly crooked, the drawer of the cabinet pulled just enough to show it had been opened. A glass of water sat half full on the table. This wasn't a robbery. Whoever had come here was comfortable. Familiar? I swallowed hard and climbed the stairs, each creak of the steps sounding like a gunshot in the silence. As I reached the landing, soft voices floated down the hallway. You took too long, a man's voice hissed. I had to wait until the neighbor stopped peeking out. A woman whispered sharply, "She notices everything." My breath caught in my throat. I knew that voice. I crept forward, my heart thundering. Through the small gap of my half-closed bedroom door, I saw them. Imran, my younger brother, and beside him, Saba, my wife's dearest friend, the woman who had wept with me at the funeral, who had called me brother, as she held my hand through my grief. The woman my wife trusted like family. Imran was holding a folder, my property papers. His eyes gleamed with satisfaction as he flipped through them. Saba stood by my wife's dresser, her fingers dancing across the jewelry box that still held my wife's gold necklace, the one she had worn on our wedding day. Without hesitation, Saba slipped it into her purse. I felt my knees weaken, my breath shallow. This will all be over soon. Imran murmured, "Once we get his signature, the house is ours, and he'll side with us. He trusts me completely." Saba's laugh was soft but cruel. Poor man, clinging to memories. He doesn't realize the world has moved on. My vision blurred with tears, rage boiling in my veins. My brother, my wife's closest friend, and worse, the mention of my son's name. Was Adil a part of this? I pressed a trembling hand against the wall, struggling to keep silent. If they heard me, if they saw me, everything would collapse before I had a chance to uncover the truth. I backed away slowly, my heart pounding louder than their voices. The house I once thought safe, sacred with memories of my wife, had become a place of betrayal. And as I slipped out into the cold night, one thought consumed me. This wasn't just theft. This was war. That night I didn't sleep. I sat on the edge of the guest bed at Adil's house, my hands shaking, my mind replaying every word I had overheard. Imran's smug voice, Saba's cruel laughter, and worst of all, the mention of my son's name. Adil will side with us. He trusts me completely. The words looped in my head like a curse. I stared at the thin wall that separated me from Adil's room. He was probably asleep, snoring lightly, as he always did when tired. But was that the sound of innocence, or of a traitor resting peacefully, unaware his father had discovered the truth? I wanted to shake him awake, demand answers, but anger without proof would only weaken me. No, if I confronted him too soon, they would twist the truth, make me look like a paranoid old man drowning in grief. So I stayed silent. I decided I would watch, listen, collect, and slowly, painfully, the signs began to appear. The next morning, over tea, I tested him. "Beta, I was thinking maybe I should repaint the house. Give it some life again. Your mother always wanted brighter walls." Adil looked up too quickly. His spoon clattered against the cup. Then he forced a smile. "Abu, why waste money? That house is too big for you now. You should think about selling it. Find a smaller place, easier to manage." His words cut deep. It wasn't the first time he had suggested selling. But now, with Imran's voice echoing in my memory, it sounded rehearsed. Like a line fed to him. That evening, as I pretended to doze in the guest room, I heard him speaking softly in the hallway. "He's not ready yet, still holding on, Imran says, give it time." My blood froze. There it was. Proof that my own son was in contact with them. Proof that he knew something. I lay in the dark, tears stinging my eyes, listening to my own child speak words that felt like knives. This was the boy I had carried on my shoulders, the boy for whom I had worked nights, skipping meals so he could study, so he could have a better life. This was the boy his mother had prayed for every night, and now he was part of the plan to strip me of everything. But grief soon hardened into resolve. If they thought I was weak, they were wrong. If they thought I was blind with grief, they would soon learn otherwise. The next day, I quietly redirected all my mail to my old friend Salman, a lawyer I trusted like a brother. I made copies of every important paper, sealing them away where only Salman could access them, And one afternoon, while Adil believed I was at the market, I returned to my house. My hands trembled as I slid a small recording device into the crack between the dresser and the wall, right where Imran and Saba had stood plotting. "If you want to steal my wife's memory," I whispered, "then let her room bear witness against you. Days passed." My heart broke a little more each time I looked at Adil, his smile now a mask I could no longer trust. Then, one evening, I retrieved the recorder. My hands shook as I pressed play. Imran's voice, smooth and confident. He's still clinging to that house, but once Adil signs as a witness, it's done. Saba's voice, sharp with laughter. "The fool doesn't even know we're already taking his wife's jewelry. He's living in memories while we're building a future." My breath caught as I heard my son's name again. "Adil," I stopped the recording, tears blurring my vision. It was true, it was all true, but as the tears fell, a strange calmness settled over me. They thought they were weaving a web around me. They thought they were clever, patient, unstoppable, but little did they know, I was weaving a web of my own. And when the moment came, they would all be caught in it. Weeks passed in silence, though every day the fire inside me grew hotter. I played the role they expected of me, the grieving, distracted father, clinging to old photographs and memories. They thought I was weak, blind, easy prey. They had no idea I had seen through them, heard their whispers, collected their treachery in cold, hard evidence. I chose my battlefield carefully, a family dinner at Adil's house. It was perfect, everyone would be there. My brother Imran, smiling with false charm, Saba, pretending to be the sweet family friend, and Adil, shifting in his seat, caught between guilt and cowardice. The meal passed in awkward laughter, the kind that masks hidden tension, but I barely tasted a thing. My heart pounded with every passing second, waiting for the right moment. Finally, when tea was poured and the plates cleared, I placed my cup down gently. "There's something I need to say," I began, my voice calm but heavy, drawing every pair of eyes toward me. Imran chuckled. "Bye, don't look so serious. We're family, relax." I cut him off by sliding a small USB drive across the table. "Family, this little device holds your voices. Every word you spoke in my house, planning to take what's mine." The color drained from his face. Saba froze, her teacup trembling in her hands. "I heard you both." I continued coldly. "In the room where my wife's memory still lives, you laughed while stealing her jewelry. You plotted to forge my signature. You thought me too broken to notice." Imran tried to protest, but his voice cracked. "You can't prove." "Oh, I can." I reached into my coat and laid out photocopies of forged documents on the table. "And the law will handle the rest. My lawyer already has the originals." The silence was crushing. Hania's hand flew to her mouth. Adil looked like he had been struck. I turned my gaze to my son. "And you, my blood, my pride, you let them use you? You spoke of selling the house, of moving me out of the very place your mother built with her hands. Tell me, Adil, did you think I wouldn't notice? Did you think I wouldn't hear your late night calls?" Tears filled his eyes instantly. "Abu," his voice broke. "I was weak. I thought it was for your good. Uncle said it would ease your burden. I never wanted to hurt you. Please, please forgive me." The sight of my son begging crushed me more than Imran's betrayal ever could. Rage I could bear, but this. The betrayal of my own flesh, it tore me apart. I let the silence stretch before I whispered, my voice trembling, "I can forgive, but I will never forget, and neither should you." Imran's face twisted in humiliation. Saba avoided my eyes, her cheeks pale. They left that night in disgrace, their scheme shattered, their reputations in ruins. Salman, my lawyer, assured me that the law would finish what I had started if they dared to strike again. Later, when I returned to my house, I walked slowly through each room, touching the walls as though they were alive. I paused in the bedroom where my wife's photo hung, her eyes smiling down on me as they had all our lives. They tried to erase us. I whispered, my voice breaking, "But our home is still ours, forever." For the first time in years, the silence in the house felt different. Not empty, not suffocating. It felt powerful, almost peaceful. I sat in the living room, bathed in the soft glow of the lamp, and closed my eyes. I could almost feel her hand on mine, her presence warm and forgiving. Betrayal had broken me. Revenge had healed me. And now, at last, I was free.